Okay, it's day 75, still going through comments, but this is part one. I want to use this question and this response from comments, and I'm still going through the second video's comments, as kind of a foil for this up here, Huma representing New York, and more specifically Brooklyn, and more specifically Hillary for America, because she works, I think, up there during the whole time, syncing her computer with Anthony Weiner, okay? And then down here in the DNC, I want to use this to represent the DNC building in Washington, D.C., okay? So when I go up here, this is New York. When I come down here, this is Washington, D.C. And what I wanted to focus on was two key phrases in these two comments. One is leak the other way, meaning this is a throw, or I create a story or a school play in order to throw everybody's attention off of a crime. And then the other phrase in my response I wanted to focus on was conspiracy of silence. Sorry about that. Conspiracy of silence. Meaning, if you know of a crime that's going on and you look the other way, you are in yourself a part of the conspiracy at that point. It's, I said this about Teresa Grafenstein yesterday. If you look the other way and you're the Inspector General and you don't inform the public about a wrongdoing, that's a breach of your fiduciary duty. And it's going to be people like Andrew Tobias and Mike Kempner and all these kind of financial people in the first wave of DNC emails that get leaked. And what I would like to posit forward today is the DNC emails, the first leak, was really about protecting or exempting the executives, the financial executives at DNC. It was really about, here we are before the election. Well, there's really a twofold reason. One, it was to make sure Hillary could accomplish everyone. Hillary for America now is going to push out all your emails to say, hey, you guys, you were all a part of the conspiracy of silence. We just put you, all 7 of your emails out. And if you notice, it's all the financial people, not Mike Kempner and Andrew Tobias, but most of the other financial people that these guys were controlling, right, that their emails got put out. So, hey, everybody, if you have any bright ideas about, being a hero right now, remember conspiracy of silence. And you really have a foil here, kind of a lightning rod, which is the Seth Rich character. Whether Seth Rich dies in reality or dies as a school play doesn't really matter. Seth Rich acts as a warning, a coyote on the fence. Hey, if you don't want to be in the conspiracy of silence over here, if you don't want to be a member of our group, then you get to be a member of this group. You get to be pet treats. I mean, we'll get your bone marrow first and send it to Cords, at University of Colorado, CORDS, and we'll say it's cord blood. But, we'll get your bone marrow first, but then we're going to burn you up in the Howard incinerator down there, okay? Or you're going to become pet treats, all right? So at one of the, at the Evansdale or the grist mill in Indiana. I can't remember the girls where the girls were killed right off the bat. But this is your choice. You can be Seth Rich, or you can be a member of the conspiracy of silence. And that's why I think that was so important for the Seth Rich thing to happen, right? The real death of Sean Lucas, I think, was the same thing. And again, it doesn't really matter whether it was real or not. The chilling effect is the same. The idea was the same. Now, this sentence I want to use as a comparison between the MI6 Mossad wing, and then I want the U.S. kind of Podesta I'm using to represent the DOJ and FBI wing of kind of Mossad influence here. This is what I mean by new Mossad versus old Mossad. I do believe Eric Braverman is somehow related to Avi Braverman, and Avi Braverman's a very good friend of Henry Kissinger. And Kissinger's kind of sitting up here where Seth Rich is. He's kind of looking at each side of the Atlantic, and he uses these two in counterpoise against each other to kind of control foreign policy. Kissinger's all about balance of power. Kissinger wants to make sure that one side doesn't get more powerful than the other side. It's a key strategy of Kissinger throughout his whole career. If you notice, he'll do leaks on Nixon to take him down and bring in Bush, and all these contrivances and intrigues that he's done through his whole career, lying to both sides because it's a necessary evil. That's how Kissinger thinks. He thinks these are necessary evils, right? So the reason why I think Braverman did the Podesta dump, and I'm not saying that it was Craig Murray or who it was, but I mean, I still think it was Craig Murray and it was Dennis Kucinich. at American University in September that did this, but it's important that Podesta got taken down a couple notches with DOJ and FBI. They were getting too powerful, and Hillary was not winning the popular election. It's a lot easier to get what you want for the deep state, and especially arms and weapons, right? And your personal enrichment, U.S. Enrichment Corps, if people are with you. And he just noticed that people were with Trump. So they disliked Hillary so much that they would vote for a total newcomer. So I think that's where Braverman plays a role. Now, Braverman was in the cold, I believe, the spy who came in from the cold kind of thing, for the better part of a year and a half. All the way from March, that Podesta email, to September, to the bombing, he was in the cold, and Kissinger was leaving him out in the cold. And finally, Kissinger came to his aid about 3 weeks to go and said, hey, Feinberg over at DynCorp has assured me that we can control Trump. Through Jared Kushner, we have a line in on Trump, and we can control Trump. And let's protect Eric Braverman. And that's when Braverman gets taken out, goes to Tel Aviv, gets saved, basically. But I think up until the last week, he was in the cold. And then Kissinger stepped in at the very last week and decided, hey, let's go ahead and have Trump. We'll get rid of him after a year. And that plan is playing out right now. So, a little bit of theory there. I sometimes hesitate to do that, what I actually truly believe, because people think it's so outlandish. But it's actually not outlandish. If you look at American history and you look at Kissinger, that's not outlandish. He's done that over and over and over. Look, who's the first person that every president has met with since Johnson? It's going to be one of the first people they've met with. Every president has met Henry Kissinger.